he told me that he wants to meet today.
For the last couple months, my peers are saying, man, you got to be in social media. And you know, I'm an old guy, 53 years old. I really don't want anything to do with this stuff. It'll just go away, and you know what? Pretty sure I'd outrun it. That's right. Because as I'm following and reading, I'm being announced for nothing, and I can already start being a voice for nothing, and everybody's just...
At a hospital in New Mexico, and I know you sell furniture.
Right.
Put this in your context. Sure. At a hospital in New Mexico, back 2-3 years ago, there were a set of nurses who were taking, but that affiliate doesn't announce that they're associated with you, that they're getting paid by you. Right. And so if you were thinking, for example, about having your employees out there promoting your product through Twitter or Facebook or LinkedIn.
To be able to find out not only something about a company, but also know a friend of was good, huh?
It's very good. A couple things on that. Don't even take the picture on an application. Because if you do, and that person gets turned down for a job, she may say supervisors for a LinkedIn recommendation, and they give it to her.
Do you want me to pull her back?
But in the end, Wayne, in your organization, forget
the ability to find out things about people in relationships.
And I'll say one other
thing
thing
that I think is so cool about this stuff is that all of a sudden you can be very transparent and honest with your customer base, potential employees.
Anything you put out there is on some computer server somewhere. No, it can't be discovered. There was another case that came out a couple months later last year where a judge in New York said, this stuff is discoverable, and it's discoverable even if you have your privacy settings.
Get around my expertise in the industry. You know,
last December, the National Labor Relations, the company's social media policy, which we're going to talk about, I hope.
Part of our marketing ideas and thoughts. And that's pretty powerful, especially because people like buying from people, and people like listening to an individual. Yeah, sure, there's employees.
Yeah. Well, my reaction to that is, great story.
Okay.
But employees do the funniest things, unpaid as her penalty. But nevertheless, she said the funniest things. Reputation, we keep alluding to, which we want to talk about, which is social media policies. And we can control it.
Well, you know, let's go. Have a different purpose.
Yes.
And they have a different structure, and they have different netiquette. They call it netiquette. You know what netiquette is?
No, never.
Netiquette is
etiquette. Maybe telling you to get into this social media channel, this one, but not this one. And that's right for your business. LinkedIn is to figure out how you want yours put together. I have one client, for example, that has a social media policy that says that at work, you can't use any social media except that. There's some rules to live by like that, but
because it's working for me now.
Yeah.
I'm very supportive of making sure that things are right, because I've had experiences where we haven't had that, and we've tried to get away without the right policy, and you know.
Exactly.
So, what's the problem with that?
Not much.
Okay, good.
So
there's cases for that.
Yes. And the analogy,
so far,
say no.
What I've at least had my people do, they can be on LinkedIn because that's the place that business people do business.
Yeah.
But we aren't allowing Facebook and Twitter. That's just the way
employee for their use or non-use of lawful products outside of work. Okay. Which was the beer lobby and the cigarette lobby.
That's what I'll just do. I'll just say they can't. I said, well, I think they can do what they want at home.
Yeah.
Okay.
In general,
and
that's
it sounds
true.
like there's some cases that
there's some issues.
Go,
yeah.
I know how to do Facebook. I'll help you with your account.
Right. Right.
So I think that's pretty cool.
Well,
okay.
Because think about age discrimination.
Yeah, okay. Gotcha.
And there's this.
It'll just naturally
in this
happen,
book I keep that I'm reading right now. This guy talks all the time about the value of being.
One thing, and you know this is not me by nature. Everyone's doing it, right? I mean, there's so much
into it, and it causes them to leap ahead of others. It's a culture issue.
Yeah. One of these things something when small organizations like myself have that chance to be between meetings.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that the speaker we had in our tech group come in and talk to us as owners of companies is this.
Doing is setting expectations for those groups of people in your organization, like service, for example. Yeah. They may have a different.
Now, do you do your own tweeting?
I don't do very much.
You know what? 45 minutes, my friend.
Yep. Should we get working on anything?
Yeah. Well,
I think you ought to do your committee's in place yet. And one of the biggest messages we want you to get out of today is that it's worth going and so it really never set any precedent at all. There's no judge that made a decision on whether the National Labor Relations Board was right. And if it says things in it like you have to always say nice things about the company. And you find they don't have one on that. That's my guess.
Do we have to look at
her own Google email address and she's looking at it from work.
All over the place. You can be on LinkedIn, but you can't mention you work for this company. I mean, where does that fall?
That's exactly what Godfrey and Kahn's doing with Twitter, you know, and other things. They're saying you're allowed to use these social media tools, but we don't want you when you're doing it to say I'm, you know, a member of Steel Co. No case on that out there right now. Anyone else? Yes.
Conversely, is there a requirement, or are you
I
disallowed?
don't see any problem with doing that.
Okay.
I think in the end, if you had an employee who just flat out said, I don't want to do this, my reaction as an advisor would be to say, it's probably
And
better.
the client thinks, well, I'm using this for research, sort of like a new Yellow Pages. You want your people to show up there, and the more you want to grab them. One more handout for John and I. But what I'd like to